Welcome back, everyone. We just watched a 13-7 win on map 1 for M80 against the Glazers, and we saw for this map a lot of back and forth bans. I think the score is actually closer than people were expecting, and it's actually kind of a I don't know how to say it, but it's actually kind of fraudulent.
I literally was about to say that because
there were so many 1v1s in the first half, 1v2s. It was just very down to the wire to see who was gonna get those rounds.
When you said it was 13-7, I was like, wait a minute, was it really 13-7? After I finished casting, I was like, what the hell just happened that game? Because yes, everything was good in terms of these hero plays that you had from the swings and the lurks on the attack side that you saw there from the Glazers, and he kept their attack side fairly close against M80 at that half. But once we got onto that other side too, that's what I'm talking about here. M80 on the attack, it's so hard to play against. This stick was almost, it was also I love that this is on the replay as well. This guy's radiating out of his toque. Nitro. Anyways, but I love that M80 continues to be very, very strong here on the attack, and that they were starting to get figured out here by TG, but it was a little bit too late at that point because you had such a strong lead in the end from M80 to try to make this a closer affair.
I gotta say that first half, Xander, he just dominated for M80 on the defense. Just so stoic at the end of A side. Got so many multi-kills. I'm glad we had that highlight sequence so you could see most of it. And that helped M80 get so many first kills on the defense. It really forced the issue out of the Glazers, who just couldn't make their way into A. They had very little success at winning just the straight up gunfights that they needed to. Once the walls came down, everyone's firing. The Glazers didn't really come out ahead in those moments up until, well, it was M80's offense, the one thing we were trying to highlight. That was the best thing about them. Turns out it was actually the opposite. So maybe the desk is on fraud watch.
And even when you're looking at this Riku versus Koala Noob, both of them on Omen, both of them being duelists, both of them being oppers right now. Unfortunately, it was a different type of playstyle that you saw here from Koala Noob and from Riku, right? Koala Noob, we're praising how he kept pulling out this outlaw in round number 2, number 3, keeping things very easy here for M80 to get long range picks. Well, for Riku's side, they opted for trying to save up for the operator ASAP, and once you're getting blocked out by these one ways and these smokes, you couldn't get too much value out of it, and you could only use that rifle a certain amount of times because your econ stayed fairly low against M80. So that was a great job by M80 to really shut down the real value that you could get out of Riku on this opping role, on this sniper role.
And I like that you mentioned a little bit of that utility for M80, because it is one of the reasons why it makes this composition that they're running with the Gecko as well so strong. You see it on the defensive side, throwing that util out those chokes, but you also got to see a little bit on the post plant on the attacking side. You had the mosh pit, you have the fragment, you have the snake bite, you have the nanoswarms. I mean, it's just everything thrown at you. And even then, though, to be fair, yeah, it is a win for M80. They continue to look good on this map, but a lot of those situations when it was the Glazers on the attacking side were coming down to the wire. Again, they were very, very close, and it was all that util, and it always ended up being that 1v1. I'm pretty sure 3 rounds in a row we saw 1v1 take place, and it was just down to the clutch, down to wasting as much time as possible from M80 to win the rounds. It was just little things as well that, as always, give us really good signs of the Glazers, but now they're in a very tough situation. We talked about the possibility of them going 0-3 if they lose the match. Well, they still have a chance to take us to map 3, but that's gonna depend on how the split goes, Vance.
Yeah, exactly. And just to add a little bit to where you're talking about in terms of util for both of these teams, where we were mentioning during the cast, it's pretty much the same composition. The only difference is that you have a Gecko on one side for M80 and a Sova on the other. But then when it comes down to the synergy of that util, it seems that we wanted to talk about M80 a lot more than the Glazers, right? And the one person that I saw maybe that had good combo utils is just playing off his own util, and that's Zachary now as a KJ, which is why now on split, if nothing changes on how they're currently playing, he should be playing a breach, in that composition, which also is he's very, very good on that agent. I remember him playing that agent as well when he had to play with FaZe, for example, when they were coining the Schmeeg and the aggression that they were pulling out here in their compositions. And
So long ago, by the way.
Yeah, dude, we're ancient at this point. We're going to talk about that type of composition, aren't we? But yeah, I think he definitely has what it takes to really add more synergy to what was missing in terms of util synergy from the Glazers on the first map, now catering on to Split.
Just the mental games that Zachary played, whether it was in those 1v1s against Nitro, but the way he would just make his way into the opponent's spawn and just kind of make these solo plays happen. As kind of playing like a duelist, but not on the duelist. So wondering how, like we said, he's such a flexible player. We're probably going to see him on the breach once again on Split to open up these sites. Zachary has been that really dependable pillar who puts out consistent performances that keeps the Glazers just so close to a win, but they haven't gotten it yet. I just can't believe I'm looking at an 0-2 team.
Yeah.
It's always close, but it's always kind of that curse of can you close it out, and that is when the Glazers have struggled the most. We got to see how it goes on the second map of Split. It's time that we jump into the agent select. Again, we've seen this map for the Glazers. They've played it already on one of the weeks for Challengers, but for M80, this is new territory for us. And guess what? It is exactly the same composition. Surprise, surprise. It is just the race as a duelist. Everything else is going to look pretty standard for both of the teams, though there is that change, right? For the Glazers, they were not having a Cypher before. They changed this around. Yep. They're gonna have that Sentinel, and with that being said, I'm gonna leave you guys to it. Let's see if it's a 2-0 or a 2-1.
That's a tough one. I think Dryad got her prediction right on the Winthrop match. She was very close on I think she predicted 13-6. So I'm going to trust that this is going to be close too. But yeah, I thought Zachary was going to be on the breach, but this will be not the case.
Yeah, and I think it answers the question as to like what you were saying in the pregame, right? Why are they taking Split when they lost 13-7 against TSM when they were running like a Raze, Astra, and Breach, for example, in their composition. So they're going into something a little bit more tried and true, where teams like, for example, Sentinels running this are really good in terms of retake capabilities, which is why I'm not surprised that M80 is also running this similar comp, so that you could, once again, get good value out of Nismo, out of this Raze, but also they were coined M80 before they joined M80 with the core with what used to have John Cutie and even in Nismo, was when they were playing Goes Gaming under Kaplan, and they were also very good in terms of flood retakes. So you have now that capability of like using a little bit of that. And actually, as I correct myself though, it's actually Koala Noob playing the Raze and not Nismo. Although it doesn't change the fact that you could still use combination util for those retakes. But I do find it quite interesting that we're seeing Nismo now on not on a Raze role, and that's a nice little change from what we're used to seeing from Nismo from last year.
Yeah, but because before M80 would have Koala Noob and Nismo trade on that duelist role.
Yep.
Now there's one-way smoke, and the Glazers just try to flood into B main, forcing Nitro to get back. Now mid control is for M80 as well, but Nitro in the corner as the paranoia out, but I think he got flashed too. Nitro couldn't put any damage down, but the Glazers try to get into cover because there was a flash out of M80. They drop down from heaven, and there's a bait shell that gets Koala Noob down to 2 HP, and the Glazers will have to retreat, but they can't.
Oh my, 2 HP remaining for Koala Noob after those paint shells came down from drone. But I gotta say that the first flash coming through, you understand now why Nismo's also playing an initiator role. He's getting great value, allowing Xander to drop down to get that kill and allowing M80 to really retake the site. Of course, on less utility because it is pistol round. But at the end of the day, they still did a great job just running as a group, running as a team right after, and not allowing TG to get too much value. But I love this right now from seeing M80's composition and seeing Koala Noob on this Raze. We'll talk about it a little bit. I'd like to maybe save a timeout to maybe try to reason why I like to see Koala Noob on this Raze so far as it gets the first pick on Zachary.
Oh, Zachary's in timeout. How about that? I ain't got a judge. Nitro and B. This is my favorite place to run a judge. Just absolute menace. There's no going through B main without losing bodies. Thankfully, the Glazers gonna explore mid. That's where Xander will be holding this staircase. And with a submachine gun, that's always going to be helpful at close range, but M80 are going to provide support. The smoke can only protect Xander for so long. You heard the sky flash right there, so Xander's going to put a snake bite down just to really burn the path down that the Glazers want to take.
Yeah, and isolate them as well. So they're separating the push. You're going to try to move towards the A site. The Cypher util is going to be there. There's only one player inside the A site, and it's actually the Outlaw. This could be really good for TG to try to flood back on A to get a plant.
Oh,
but unfortunately, there's pin inside mail.
Nitro crossed against what timing? Where is Nitro? Either way, we look back towards the Glazers. Came around a different side through mid to take control of B, and there is the judge. And commands drone and precision to sit 1 versus 3, and Riku is down.
I totally missed out on that lurk that came through, but at the same time, I love that the reaction from Nitro is not a holy crap, red alert, let me turn around and just start running around like a chicken with his head cut off, right? Ange gets this pick, and Nitro still holds B main. So right now for the attackers, they think they have an opportunity to move inside the B site for a plant to at least get money, and Nitro's still winning B main with the judge. So very, very nicely done. Despite a small E as an error in the error column, you didn't need to capitalize it there because you redeemed yourself with those 2 kills off the judge, preventing the plant from happening. And this is looking to be very quick from TG. Satchel on the top, no contact.
Hey, good sequence though, and maybe E for excellent.
Yeah.
Or E for everyone. There's positive E's, not just error, I guess, but the Glazers came blazing into A. No one's home. Still trying to take ramp control though is Zachary. Got the dog from Nismo that doesn't spot anything, just patrolling around A. At least if you're M80, you know that there's no one from TG on A.
Well, right now they haven't really cleared Zachary on that lurk either, so this could still be a late second pinch if they take a good mid control towards vents. So really, Zachary is just going to wait for the rest to activate now.
Oh, the judge! Oh, Xander! Oh, he ran out of bullets at the end, but a 2-for-1 is a trade you will take every day if you're M80. And Zachary, what a paranoia out of Nitro, and teleport just in case Zachary was, oh, I guess he just wanted to teleport the knife the guy, but Zachary all on his lonesome again.
And now I'll take the time, right? Because he's going to try to save his gun for like 30 seconds. So I like that we're currently seeing Koala Noob on this role of Raze, because currently as M80's playing this map, they're still leveraging a lot of opping capabilities or sniping capabilities, as Koala Noob once again is just farming kills off the Outlaw. And if he's actually going to have to play an initiator role, then he won't be able to use util and also be positioned and posted up to try to op. So I love that we're actually pivoting things a little bit in terms of rules, where in the past also when you're looking at this core, as you were mentioning, when we're pivoting roles between Koala Noob and Nismo, is you would actually allow Koala Noob to play just controller roles in maps where he can't play Raze, because we think that his satchel maybe not be the best so far, and you just want to keep him on jet maps, right? And then just have him jet op. But I love that we're giving that confidence to Koala Noob that not only is he going to get picks right now with just simple posting with the op, but I can't wait to see the attack side to see if he's been cooking up his pathing with the satchels.
Xander, I mean, I don't know how often you get to see your Viper's top frag, but at one point Xander was 14-1.
Yeah, with
on
Xander,
Icebox.
often.
Yeah, with Xander, yeah. He is that guy. Pronouns he, him, and oh, Drone is just gone. That box not sturdy enough. And the Glazers see if they can try to make their way to A. They're getting satcheled out of the main doorway, and there's a snake bite to walk into. The Glazers, man, this is a tough road to carve. But now, with Heaven controlled back for Xander, M80 are caged off, won't be able to prevent the plant. Now the Glazers can play in cover.
Xander has a pit right now, though. So if they could punish any type... Okay, no, we're good here for TG. Camera is going to be contact for everything. We don't have smokes to try to cross over. So everything's going to happen on late lurks from Ange off the camera. And then the other two could play the site. So this should be a TG round.
Remaining.
Yeah, great catch on the dog from Precision, knowing BCJ was there. Now Xander, okay, he gets his cross spotted. Just gets flicked in the nose there and decides, you know what? That side's yours. I was not aware of your game. And oh, well, delivers to Zachary. Oh, and the timing on Ange coming through the ramp. But it is a round for TG after all.
Yeah, and I can respect that as well from M80 to just fight towards that spam box on towards the A ramp because they knew they were playing against an eco. They were getting really close to try to build up these ult orbs. I mean, Xander was one away from getting his pit. So to contest that, to try to fight that, you wanted to just have those funnies in your favor. But unfortunately, it was TG that was even better with this lower buy that they had to really allow to swarm this A-side ramp control and really foil the plans that M80 had on leaving basically Koala Noob on an island. And at least this time around, he's not going to be on an island. Even if he's on an island, he's going to not. So he could really cover a lane by himself, while the rest here are just trying to support him at the beginning towards this B side. So we're finally starting to see this composition as to why it's so good. They're really good on retake capabilities as well. So they don't mind just leaving BCJ playing a low on site, just like John Cutie, and then have the rest just rotate for retake.
Kind of different. Usually Nitro holds B and has support from Xander from mid, but now switching that with BCJ, offering some camera info of who's coming through B, and no early pit from Xander, just trying to feel out where TG want to go first. And it's Zachary collecting intel at A. He's one away from neural theft, and that could be what kicks off the round for TG.
Yeah, and he'll probably have a minute pit right now. There you go. So that's going to try to block things off and not allow the cross to happen. On top of that, there's that trip. Oh, no, it misses. Couldn't get the kill.
Oh, man. Usually the judge does. Is that what he had? Either way.
Phantom. It should have been better. It should have been an easier kill.
I just hear blasting, and I just worry because it's always a judge, I swear to God.
But that's also why BCJ is setting up on B, right? He had that trip on mid, and it was a trap play to run through with that pit to get the kill, and now he's stuck on an island and gets 2 kills.
What? This is the one-way cage spots them dogs out of TG coming through B main. Now they'll make their way in. 12 seconds left. He teleports right into a flash. 3 for BCJ. Zachary fights back. It's a 1 versus 2. Zachary throws out the hat. He's going to try and clutch up with kills, but time not on his side.
That was so nice. Late learn trying to not have him save the gun, but he'll be able to towards the end. But yeah, that TP that came across, again, beautiful flash by Nismo, which allowed for BCJ to swing out and almost line up 2 kills for the last 2 right away, not allowing Zachary to save his weapon right there. But that slight mistake from Xander where he couldn't get that kill with the Phantom off that trap was almost everything there for TG to flood towards that B site. They understood how it was easy there for TG to get in towards that B site for a plant. And definitely when you saw that attempt that came through with the time left, neural theft, it was trying to get kills in the end there for Zachary. But they played it smart here from M80. They knew the time was in their favor, which is why you saw M80 play so much more passively.
Cage triggered.
M80 back in the driver's seat. Well, while Nitro takes the seat because he got first killed, but equalized now as TG default setup. You gotta pick at A. So you see Zachary Cypher seeing if they can take control of Heaven. Maybe the backside of A, making the call, summoning Precision, start rotating over, and especially with Seekers, if TG can just get established on one of these sites, this could be big for them.
The thing is right now is, yes, they could group up and start using these 2 ults and try to clear sight. But because you got to dink through the box, he's already rotating towards the A side. So unintentionally, M80 has pivoted towards the right side of where the hit is coming. So this fake has to be like on point right now on the B side. And unfortunately, after that first peek, it's potentially a double pump. You see that? Zachary gets contact. The Precision's already moving towards the B side, throwing Seekers out. Zachary with a top kill on top of that. That's guaranteed B side open.
Oh, geez. Showstopper just put it in Evan. Now it's too late. They've heard it. They've escaped. No, this no challenges it. And eats the showstopper for breakfast. But Xander gets a 2 kill punish. 10 seconds left. 1 versus 1. And Zachary now has to deal with the neural theft from BCJ. And Zachary's gonna leave. He's being hunted down.
And that's why, at least on defense, when you're throwing a hat, it kind of saves you in that situation. So very well done for BCJ in the end to clutch that, because another round where a Thrifty could have been converted there for the Glazers. But we were really all over the place. There were win cons all across the map right now on the B side. Or it was a fake towards B that pulls some players away, then they could ult towards the A side and plat. But you saw what they went for instead for the Glazers. Zachary got a pick on top of Seeker, so that keeps the players out towards the B Heaven side, and they really can't fight inside the site. And the Showstopper even got a kill on top of that. But again, it came down to BCJ anchoring, right? This is a second situation where against an eco, it should have been a round for TG, and then BCJ is just good for the anchor plays. So very well done in the end. It calls out a timeout, which is fine, because you've wasted an out. Well, I wouldn't really necessarily say wasted, because they played it correctly for the Glazers with their ults. But now that they have money to work with and no ults to work with, they had to figure out now how they could scale these rounds back in their favor, so they could keep this game close on their map pick.
Just the fact that the Glazers made a Thrifty round that close, like it came down to a 1v1, very impressive. But the theme for the Glazers seems to be like they're the bridesmaids but never the bride. Like they always get so close to winning, but then can't close it out. And Try talked about that. You need that closeout. You need that clutch factor. And it's always been Zachary, but you can't always depend on him. But Drone was pop his way into ramp. Off of the bird, contact 2 from Precision. But now using the cage to fall back, because paint shells will just hose out anyone from ramp. Now TG gonna slow things down.
And this dog is actually a little bit early here for Nismo. So he knows that the trip's being set for the cross, breaks it right away, so that doesn't allow any type of like late lurks coming through here from TG. It actually allows M80 to push forward if they kind of want to towards the late round. And that now forces the hand of TG to make a play a little bit earlier on their side. Already cages are being thrown, and with those nades, you know the hit's coming towards the A side.
Nitro dodges the flash and just tries to put suppressing fire as they came in. Takes an L. It's a maybe temporary W for TG, who have even extended past the site, taking all the space in the world, and TG have the plant down. And the kills follow through. Only 3 members remain of M80 as the retake takes different angles. 2 coming down the ramp and all.
Nice
the
flash.
Paranoia or some blind out of TG snatches up M80 and leaves BCJ all alone.
Yeah, and that's unfortunate, but very nice for the Glazers. A second time where they're just going to storm through with bodies and get kills, but you have a drive-by by drone like that to just get a kill as soon as the smoke was about to pop to just take Nitro down. And that was everything there to allow TG to just punish M80 to try to just fight aggressively on that A ramp. So very nicely done. There's nothing more you could really add on to that one, too. It's just a stalemate of trying to gather information, which, once again, the dog was a little bit early, right? It was thrown at 120 on the clock. So it gives you a lot less to try to use and try to gather information in the later round. And for the Glazers, instead of waiting it out, because that trip got broken, they said, all right, let's just try to move forward, because if the dog didn't spot anything, they probably still think it's just Zachary on alert. So we'll try to gamble it and try to run into the site, and it paid off.
Oh, this is a nice one.
TG still haven't found anything at ramp, like using one of their sky flashes, satcheling in, and then they give up all of that ramp space too. But at least TG picking off Nitro, who re-peeked in that moment or just didn't decide to hide. Good punish out of TG, still trailing by 3 rounds. So Zachary will be lurking and checking out things at A, but it's an aggressive push, a showstopper. Zachary takes some splash damage, but he's trying to escape. Now puts the cage behind. Zachary will manage to flee, but this gives an opening for TG to start walking into B. And it will be Riku teleporting in, and Drone set up at the back. TG can hopefully safely get a plant. Zachary has finally been hunted down, so TG have to know that the attacker's spawn is being infiltrated by M80. The spike is down, and M80 are very distant from each other and not
so
coalescing when it matters, and the snakebite stands in their way as M80 wait for the push from the B main side. And it goes back and forth with TG, equalizing 3-3, but the double kill from Precision tilts the scales in the offense's favor, and Nitro can't deliver.
That's just unfortunate that the Seekers that they threw out here from M80 just all comes out from Garage because the flank came from there. So you're getting zero value once it gets sprayed out here from the back of Billboard. So very nice for TG to get rid of those right away so they could still have the element of surprise inside that B site. But I love that double push that you saw on the attack, trying to punish off the showstopper. You're trying to make plays on your lower buy from M80. And even Nismo, he actually never popped the flashes. He just let them fully extend into the limit of the timer and just explode on itself, so they could just double swing against Zachary trying to fall back. So that's very nice. Now we have a gun round finally from M80 once again, and it just avoid the aggression coming out from TG on it. I mean, they're getting so much value from it for the Glazers on his A-ramp control early in these rounds that the condition continues to be this right now for TG, and they get a wall bang on top of that.
Koala Noob's like, they're close. I'm dead. Ramps, help. TG actually getting something out of this aggressive Ramps push, and neural theft by Zachary. Knowing reinforcements are on the way through the top side, giving TG some breathing room, ideally, to get a plant down. But TG have to remove BCJ first, and now that that's done, TG can get things set up. M80 are fighting through the top side and extending out as Zachary too, ready to throw hands with anybody. And it's all about timing against Nitro. And Zachary with 3 this round puts TG in a fantastic position.
I was just trying to save his gun. Yeah, there's got a flash that came out, but he's pretty much pinned. This is pretty much a round for TG no matter what, but I take that dub. That one kill that Dismal just got there on off the post plant forced out the Ange pit and also Seekers immediately to get information. The amount of respect that the Glazers currently have against M80 just to try to get this one singular round against one player is quite nice. It shows how strong and how impressive M80 could be when you see these 5 players in a server. That's quite nice. The end of the day, though, this is what I think it was like a 5-1 scoreline that we had at some point for M80, and now it's up to a 5-4 scoreline with TG 1 round away of tying things up. So they're doing a great job working right now, this continuous pressure towards this A-side ramp, as I've mentioned. And even if it's towards a flash with satchels, and M80 have tried to adapt to that by just brute forcing their way back into a fight towards the A-ramp, they still get punished out of that. So what are you going to try to do here for M80? Are you going to try to be a little bit more passive now in your plays? Are you actually going to start putting BCJ towards that back of the site where you could do these trip setups to just try to punish into like from the king position towards that back of that A site? Because we haven't seen too much of BCJ's setup now towards that A site so far. And it's not going to be this round because you have a Thrifty coming up here from M80. That was a potential Bucky play from Koala Noob. So that almost made me very excited. And I don't want to go further than that because I don't want to make this 3 weeks in a row. But they're still going with the Stinger buy as a group. So they're trying to make some sort of trap play towards this A ramp.
Nitro just needs support protecting A Heaven, and look how M80 have stacked too. They know TG like to be aggressive off of ramp, and M80 said we can do that too. They have this player pinned around the corner. Drone was flashed in. M80 kind of fumbled the easy kill there, but it's still an M80 round, not without losing some bodies, but 1v3 is something difficult to ask for from Zachary. He's got the spike, he's at B, around the corner is BCJ, but goes to shoot the camera and is sort of running out of bullets, but Zachary just gonna jump around. That was a boom bot. So much util for Zachary to handle, but M80, it's a good post timeout round for them.
Let's call another E for everyone so that we could call BCJ Big Chaos Jensen. The way that he's anchoring towards the site on this B site has been impressive so far. I gotta say, how long did it take for an M80 to try to get that kill onto drone towards orb? And he's still gonna kill towards that A site, which then forced TG to say, there's maximum 2 players on the B site, guys. Let's just go. We have a 4 against 2 at the most towards this B site. And there's a snake bite trap combo and 2 stingers to hold that site for M80. That shouldn't have been around. That should have been won there by M80, but it's once again BCJ on this Cypher that wins it for the team.
6-4. M80 getting pushed to their limits against the team at the bottom of the standings, but one that's hopes to make a better splash in the end. The early pit in mid. This gives two options to TG, A or B, and no ifs and buts going through the middle. Now that Zachary's been usually hanging out at A, he's got some camera vision. Knows that TG could probably just explode onto ramp like they usually do.
Yeah, it's actually quite slower for TG this time around. Usually that explosion happens at the barriers coming up, so now it's for them to start playing the mind games with the cages coming through. And now they're doing the same thing as they did before. This time, Koala Noob knows better to not get punished, just like Nitro did on top of Heaven. And now, this is probably M80's first real attempt to retake the A site.
M80 have tried to prevent it this time, respecting it, going for the retake. As you said, Zachary gets traded. It's 1-1. M80 drop, and they all flood in. Nismo with 2. Will get the spike at least halfway. Precision and Aj coming from ramp to Heaven, ready to swing together, but they've already revealed their position, and it's been diffused.
Yep, and that's, again, there wasn't, the retake that they played there from M80 is not the type of, like, flood utility to, like, really try to trap some players towards that back of the site over at A, but it's just standard running through, out towards elbow. You got the element of surprise against TG that are still trying to set up here on the post plant. And I like it. I mean, the TP from Nitro, instead of trying to fight and contest towards the A site, decides to try to step back towards screen so he could just run back with the team and just be stronger than their opponents in terms of just fragging. So that was actually really nice. We haven't seen the full potential of the retake with Util now from how that just ran down for M80.
At least the retake potential is now there for M80. TG looking at maybe access the orb. They want to set up Zachary for a kill, but he's also by himself at A. Either way, Zachary can make the call for the A site, and as the smoke drops, what a shot out of Koala. We'll manage to keep the up. Yeah, Dog just got taken out. Veterinarians are very upset about that. 5 versus 4 for the defense. But mid is open for TG. Where do they go from here?
Well, flash blinded drones, so you can't really get a surprise kill into vents. So now they have to use a dog so that he can try to get a late lurk into mail, of course, a rotate from vents into the crosshair of drone. But I love that we're maintaining right now. Maybe not as much. Trying to go for a rope surprise repel kill, but Precision just got picked up.
30 seconds left.
Oh, the Seeker is just crossing up drone there, but because of the paint shells, Nismo couldn't have the immediate follow-up. 2 versus 4, and now the spike has been dropped in a horrible spot with the defenders there, and Ants just tries to climb up and just will descend to hell. 8-4 in the half.
Yeah, and this is, unfortunately, despite seeing a nice little comeback that we saw from TG on an 8-4 scoreline, I was really trying to hype up before getting into the server that I get to see Drone playing Raze again in this roster, right? Because even when Drone was playing back in like the early days of Valorant, he was really known to be like a kick-ass Phoenix, a Silva Opera. He was really good on the Raze on Bind, for example. So it was nice to see him satchel a little bit more. I think he was probably one of the precursors of seeing good satchels at the beginning after seeing some Bunny F4Q. But nonetheless, being able to see him play the Raze again was a little underwhelming this time around. We didn't see too much value of like satchels towards B having to take map control, but we'll have to see how it's going to be used towards the defensive side. It's now Koala Noob with the satchels on the attack. And what has he been cooking up for M80 here?
Well, M80 ready to flood in. There's the guiding light. Paint shells right into Heaven. The smoke to deny vision out of TG. As M80 also have Koala Noob playing the very top of the site, ready for any kind of swing. M80 start the play. Contesting ramp though is Nitro, and hey, not bad. Manages to pick up one. Nismo with a bird, or at least is going to heal him, but also has a flash.
Yeah.
If TG wanted to catch more hands.
But there's a trip here. Precision's at 1 HP. It's going to be hard to contest ramp.
Oh, they're just gonna come to them, and Nismo at least gets the trade, but that's all they're gonna get. It's just the one kill. A good surgeon by TG. 3 versus 3. Precision at 1 HP. M80 defending this as best as they can as BCJ has an impact.
You just wasted so much time there for TG on that A ramp to just try to flush out Nismo and Nitro on that crossfire setup that it's so hard for you to try to push out towards the A main right after, and you saw the instant pivot right there from M80 right after. After the information that they've gotten towards the A ramp that the Omen's not there, you saw Koala Noob push all the way up close to screens so that even if he hits the paranoia, he could still play a close range battle against Riku running out. It's just simply really nice how M80's just pivoting around the anti-stratting that TG is currently doing, and it's just some simple calls on adaptation on individualistic play, so that's quite nice. And now that's going to put them in a bonus round, a very strong bonus round too against TG. And TG are gambling the stack towards this B site. Flash is going to get information on top of B heaven, while on the defensive side they get contact onto A main. But for TG, it doesn't give them too much because it's just like, okay, well, I got contact. It's probably still a lurk.
Yeah, contact to the face. M80. That's what I would say in my ranked games, but M80 have won every pistol so far in this series, so being able to play from that advantage, that spot. What? TG pushing 3 to be made 1 by 1. The ducks line up for Xander, and that duck hunt is not the video game that TG want to play, and actually Precision doesn't want to play at all. He's 1v5 and couldn't get one for the road. Yeah,
we're going back into the semantics of the first map pretty much, right? When we were saying on Icebox where you just couldn't get any unluckier. Actually, am I thinking about that game? I'm actually thinking about the previous series where you just can't really win duels at all either for when we're watching that Winthrop game earlier on, or Winthrop rather, sorry. But yeah, I mean, trying to push, trying to stack, trying to get a gamble to at least have bodies to trade against one lone lurker on this B side gets fully denied by Xander. You talked about his 17 kills. Is at 18 now, just owning it up on for M80 on the attack. And yeah, this is looking pretty almost like a done deal, especially if M80 could convert this bonus.
Oh, Boombot through the smoke. Oh yeah, there's bullets in the way, but it almost looked like Drone and Friend wanted to swing into mid, but deciding to let the M80 come to them. Boombot, of course, reveals someone at the staircase, and it's all been about the headshot lineups, which favored M80 in that way. Nismo, okay, gets one for the road, and M80 still try to carve their way through mid. And now there's 2 invents where Precision and Ange want to collapse onto these members, and M80 will give that up.
Nismo, your duel is supposed to be Koala Noob, not you. As a Raze, you're playing Sky, yet you still get kills. That's pretty good. And that's why I'm actually impressed, because how is he playing Lurk on Sky and still getting entries on a Guardian? Now they won't have flash to entry, but at least they have bodies to just move as a flash. And as I talk about the flash, I have a paranoia that came out.
Oh, jeez. M80 still having issues
30 seconds left
getting into B, and now you got the whole squad of TG laughing at him, but M80, they burst in, and Xander with a huge double kill. Precision in the corner at least cuts one off. 2 versus 1 as M80 want to reach even higher. The lead could get even worse, but Zachary in a 1v2. Here's the stopping, it's double swing, and he threads the needle. It doesn't happen.
Xander just keeps wide swinging on top of that just to make sure that you guarantee the crosshair placement breaking there on that 2v1 that M80 just displayed there. But you definitely do see that difference on how M80 is currently running this Raze in their composition, right? And it shows a lot into like the different types of playstyle, despite seeing the composition being very similar to, for example, Sentinels again. Because Zekin is amazing with the combination of 10s to paranoia and get 2 beautiful satchels to just land in front of somebody's face and just headshot them. But for Koala Noob, it's one single satchel just to create space and gain small scaling space, while you have 2 players swinging behind him on top of that. So they continue to have just a little bit of pressure, but also adding players in the process instead.
Oh, okay. BCJ still gets 2 out of that. Advantage again for M80. confident, thriving. Moisturize still in their lane. Injured, but still in their lane for Koala Noob at 25 HP. TG, very split from each other too. It's gonna be tough for Precision and to even get trades, but they're just trying to scout where this plant could be going down, and M80 are decided it's a B plant.
Yeah, and it's been a very, I mean, they're still gonna get bonus money, right, off the round that they lose here for TG. But you definitely see from this radar that Precision's not moving at all from sewers. So there's not going to be any help from sewers whatsoever from Precision. And which is why you're seeing how the economy is so low for TG. They need his rifle. So the triple push out towards the A side. I think they had Sherrison on top of that to try to fight in that area. And they're going to need this rifle for the next. So Ange, the only thing he could really do here is maybe try to catch one off the rotate out. But he's just going to die to Spike instead. So this is going to put M80 at map in series point. Where at least, I don't know, can they have enough money for an operator on defense? We haven't had a chance to see that either yet for TG.
Last player standing.
Oh,
I'm okay with that too. Dying to a player, trying to add another orb in case we're able to win some rounds and bring an ult up available ASAP here for Ange is okay. But you're also adding more ult orbs on the opposite end for M80. So this is not going to be an easy task right now, and this is a huge timeout being called by their coach Danimal to figure out how they could bring this comeback.
well, it's kind of funny how this whole series turned out because the Glazers did better on M80's best map pick of Icebox. And now that Split is the Glazers' choice, they are falling behind significantly. They've only taken rounds on the offense, losing all pistols, and always having to play from behind. But if at least I know more about Zachary than I do the others, but these seem like people who are very composed. Yes, they feel beat up, but they could still try to beat back against a team like M80, who are one step away from being the only perfect team remaining in Challengers in terms of never dropping a map. And the Glazers want to have a better showing on their map pick.
Yeah, and that's a tough part too, though, right? When it's their map pick, but they also came with a different compositional change this time around, playing something more to the norm, something more standard. But they're not getting too much value out of their defensive side so far, and it's really M80 that has some great control of this mid take from Nismo every single time. And if you're looking at their setup, they're continuing to do this 2-1-2 when they have these gun rounds, and they really want to play towards the extremities on the defense. That gives a lot of space right now for M80 to crunch. So I love at least this time around for TG, they're trying to add more pressure into Garage, and that is not a kill that should happen. BCJ locking it down from main all the way up towards heaven. He's beatboxing to get the hat out, and now the Neural Threat to get information on a 2-2 setup. There's nothing really, you could decide wherever you want to go, and they're going against the Cypher setup on A.
Yeah, interesting peek that kind of favored M80. They got the first pick. They've opened up the A side edge from the ramp, from the top rope. Takes 3 to the grave with him. And M80 have one person left. It's Koala Noob and the lineup. Too good out of TG. They live on.
That is a huge push coming out from Ange. Very well done to get that backstab onto the A ramp, and M80 were not ready for that whatsoever. So as I said, when they set up on their 2-1-2 setup and not putting too many players on that mid, they still had players push out towards Garage a little bit more. So they're trying to get some early flanks. They're trying to get some early pushes. They're trying to break the timing from M80 on their slower executes because they're doing a lot of default on the mid. So I see why they went for that 2-1-2 setup so that they could actually try to get these extremity lurks and extremity flanks. But this time around, the focus is on mid, adding even drone on top of that to get information through the pit in case M80 wants to run a dog behind run a dog in front of Koala Noob inside this pit, but they'll choose otherwise. They'll choose to group up and explode towards the A site.
Ange was getting sprayed down. Only took a little bit of damage, but that could have been bad if they got taken out fully. So M80 give up on mid, explore A, and guiding light from Precision. I don't know if it got a ping, but M80 It's one less thing they got to worry about. Not explosive on a ramp. Gonna use the dog to guide their way towards a site, knowing that Zachary is there by themselves. Gonna use the cage to buy himself some time, but still manages to just funnel players into his crosshairs. A 2-for-1 for Zachary. Precision tries to finish the job. It's all up to BCJ as M80's offense falters.
He's done it before. He's got a timing.
30 seconds left.
Won't happen. Staircase didn't help BCJ in that moment on a 1v1, but yeah, for them to still choose to work towards the A side against Zachary set up on A. I mean, this man, I've mentioned it before. I mean, there's a meme going on through the chat about him carrying a fridge here because he could carry anything, and he's been top fragging right now for TG in the last 2 maps, and this is a reason why. Almost the smoke was a detriment to Nismo, as the smoke was a little bit further out than usual here on the execution, but I think I'm gonna have to choose otherwise now for M80 on the mid-round pivot. Could be towards the B site now.
Glazers are 2-0 post timeout. It's given them the life, the mental reset that they need to attempt the very crazy comeback, as Ange just tries to own mid as much as possible with the smokes, with the snake bites, and knows that Nismo is close. Now is a boom bot. Ange remains a pillar here in vents and has the support of Riku, who's gonna play further away from the stairs just in case. A lot of util starts being thrown their way. M80 sure are stubborn. Last time they had a pit to deal with that stopped them from mid, and Nismo is ready to throw a flash. Xander's getting flashed up just trying to get into B main. So M80 just trying to draw out TG the best they can.
Yeah, he tried to flash to see if somebody was on top of the boxes, but the bigger thing right now is that M80 knows that TG has an op. So you tried to go for an op on defense on Riku and try to catch one off guard.
The paint shell timing and the shot from drone is gross. M80 cut at the heels as they come in, but show has been stopped. All thanks to Koala Noob. 2 versus 2. Nismo has the next one all lined up. Zachary next on the menu, and M80 come out on top on split and in the series.
Now we actually have a decisive 2-map series won by M80 in the 3rd week. Yes, there were challenges in week number 1 and week number 2, but this time in week number 3, there was no weakness. Very well done by M80 towards the end, though.
Great win out of M80 to shut down the momentum that the Glazers had. As soon as I said, 2-0, Glazers post timeout, M80 just had to finish the job, but Triad, are you here? Save me. At least it was a short day with Vans.
Well, what's wrong with my dad jokes, man?
Got your trail. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Split. It was not, I mean, it was just dominant. And you showed me this map, and I would have thought this is the best map for M80 Limit.
It was, we were hyping up the stats on Icebox, and that went the distance, but I think that was just a lot of tape that Glazers got to study and how close they went there. But for Split to look so quiet, maybe it's a hat diff. I know Zachary was training between different hats, just trying to think their way through this. But
so then no hats wins.
The no hat. Bald buff, at least he'd have to shave his head for that one, but
I mean, Noobs tried that. That didn't work in the first series.
That's true. That's true. That's a good point. You can try anything, but you cannot stop M80. It's just they honestly look very strong, and it is again, it is exactly what we expected to see on Split. This is a map that we didn't see from them before, and it seems like they had control of this map the entire time. You were mentioning a couple times the way that they were playing with the sky going around. It was like the map was theirs.
Yeah, and that's it. You're trying to be a little bit more reactive on a mid tank. You didn't have too many players anchoring towards the mid side when you were trying to find early information. I mean, you had a Viper doing it to try to delay, but if anything, it was a Riku op, but you still didn't allow a better timing for you to hold it. I mean, the timing was more on the side of Nismo with the way that he was walking up on mid and got 2 entries, almost, I think, like 2 rounds in a row with a Guardian. So there was a little bit less that was happening here from TG. I love that after the timeout, as I mentioned before, from Danimal, they started trying to add a little bit more pressure on the extremities with their gun rounds. But again, it was, I think, another one of those moments where a timeout came a little bit too late, where you've understood and started figuring out how M80 is currently playing, but you're trailing behind by way too much that you really can't capitalize as enough in terms of trying to win at least a couple of rounds to make that series close in the end. I think it's a very similar story as what we saw in Icebox on that first map.
And when you look at, I know we've been talking about it since yesterday, but talking about the pistols on this map as well, not only the pistols, but the bonus rounds, both of them on the map of Split were going the way of M80. The pistols are already pretty good, but then you secure the 3rd round, potentially the 4th one, and the economy, the rounds are already enough to put you in advantage in the way that we saw Lemon.
Yeah, I mean, M80 never really had to play from behind. Like you said, they got pistols, they got bonuses, etc. They had a lead, they had a cushion to take risks, and we're just really heading down mid on Split, and we're really putting the pressure on the Glazers to make decisions. And just the lineups mechanically, M80, very, very accurate. I think Zachary was the biggest problem, and then when they kind of figured out his lurks, the Glazers are trying to figure out Nitro's lurks. It was just, I think M80 were one step ahead. Even despite the Glazers, this was their map pick. M80 looked more prepared.
I think being ahead was definitely one thing for sure, because remember that Icebox we were talking about too, right? When M80 was playing the defense, is like they had the perfect stacks, they had the perfect dizzy into pipes. So really, when it looks like it was about to go back and forth at the beginning between these two teams, once you find the groove of how your opponents are currently playing, I think that also calls into a lot of masterclass on what Nitro's understanding, what the whole team's understanding overall, how their opponent's playing, and then they're just playing into their opponent's weaknesses, and they're capitalizing on so many rounds that they're able to string together.
It's just being one step ahead always.
Yes.
And that is what M80 is really good at doing. And you mentioned it, right? On Split, we saw a 5-1 advantage right at the beginning for M80. Then it was a 5-4. Things got a little bit closer, but it doesn't matter. M80 doesn't let the enemy... a fake comeback, not even a comeback, I don't even know what that is, but they try, and they always are able to get one step ahead, whether it's with the half, with the pistols, everything that we've been talking about, and that is why they are currently the best team that we have in Challengers. Now we have a series highlights, so you guys can look at everything that just went down in the 2-0 series that we just had with the M80. But when we come back, don't go anywhere, because we have an interview with one of the community's favorites.
Spike down B. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. Spike planted. Thirsty. Spike down A. Clutch. No. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.
Got your trail.
One enemy remaining. remaining. Spike down A. Spike down. One enemy.
And just like that, we're back. We just got the chance to see that 2-0 happen for M80. And I told you guys there was an interview that you wanted to hear because it is the family favorite, it is the chat favorite, it is everybody's favorite, is Koala Noob that I have here for this interview. And
Hello.
Koala, first of all, congratulations on this win.
Thank you so much.
And the first thing I want to ask you here is, I was saying you're the favorite for so many people. You're the favorite as the duelist. You're also the favorite when you have to play the Omen. But you're also the favorite team that we have in Challengers right now. You're undefeated in maps. You're the only team that is that way. And I want to ask you, do you like being the favorite, or did you like kind of the rivalry that you had last year with the Guard?
I mean, yeah, having a rivalry with the Guard was good because we know it was pretty much going to be between us and them. Knowing that we're probably the favorites is always a good feeling, but that doesn't mean we're going to underestimate anyone, because a lot of the teams are looking really good, despite like less orgs being in and it being like a lot of different names. So we always play our game.
Yeah, it always, for all the other teams at least, it always looks very close. It looks like anybody can win. But I think for you guys, the narrative has been you guys are expected to win, and you are going to win. I want to ask you something that I saw in one of your tweets for the first match that you had. You said, I got to play duelist, yay. And now we're seeing a little bit more of that duelist. We're seeing quite a lot of it, and you're looking pretty good on this duelist role. Tell me how it's been to adapt to this new team, to continue playing the role and have this opportunity to do what you've been doing from last year, but also with the addition of BCJ and Nitro that are pretty big pieces for M80.
Yeah, so I guess last year I was to be honest, I feel like I played a lot better last year compared to how I'm playing now. Not saying I'm playing bad, but I feel like everybody kind of knew me as like the hyper-aggressive duelist. Like I would take every fight possible. I mean, that's still the case with me when I'm on duelist. A little bit's changed though. Like we picked up Nitro, we picked up BCJ, and we're really focusing on playing like as fundamentally perfect as possible. We're really trying to we're not really thinking about our games right now. We're really thinking about long-term for franchising, because a lot of the stuff that we do, we might not be able to get away with against franchise teams. So we're trying our best to play perfect, like really good Valorant. Happy, Nitro, or IGL. Everybody's doing a really good job drilling stuff into my head, Xander's. Like we're playing really well. So I'm still trying to find a balance. I guess that's kind of the blame for like the less like super like frag games that I have. But I think it's overall benefiting the team, and everybody's doing great. The comms are great. Everybody's happy. It's great.
And something that I want to ask you as well is that when you look at this team, you guys have so much experience, each one in their own way, from other games to, you, for example, playing Ascension in Brazil. There's so much experience. Do you think this is also a reason why you have an upper hand with all these other teams that are kind of new?
Yeah, I think everybody kind of knows that the end goal is Ascension and winning that. And my mindset honestly changed a lot from last year. I guess I could say I get a little bit like stressed out during these matches, but not really anymore. Last year, I always in my head, I always thought we have to win this game. We have to do this, we have to do that. Everything has to be great. And I still think that, like, of course, like I want us to win. Like losing sucks, but after last year, Guard were an amazing opponent. We did best them throughout most of the year, and then in Brazil they bested us, which was unfortunate. So my mindset kind of changed in that these matches are important, but at the end of the day, if you don't win that last one, like, what was the point, right? So all eyes are on that last match, and we're really focusing on that. We're really working hard for long term.
Yeah, it is the process and all those wins that lead you to ideally that final win, right? And speaking of those wins that you have to get to that last one, the next matches that you have is Winthrop, and then you have Turtle Troop. How are you feeling about those matches? How's the confidence? You're sounding pretty confident about the team. It seems like you're focusing on yourself, but how do you feel about those two opponents?
We feel great. We're gonna go in with our game plan. We're gonna play it. It should work. If it doesn't, we'll adapt very well. We're a really good adapting team. They're great opponents. They're great players and great guys. But I think they still have a little bit of work if they want to be at our level.
And yeah, these are two teams that are growing and trying to get to that point, right? But my last question that I have for you is looking at another point that it is very, very important in Challengers. It is the map pool. You guys have been looking very, very good on Icebox. Today you also had a showcase on Split. Do you think you have the better map pool out of all of the other teams?
I think we have a great map pool. I think we're confident in playing any map. There's no point to be scared of playing a map. We have our strengths, we have our weaknesses, but we're working really hard on our weaknesses, and they're slowly fading away every day that we get to scrim. We're very lucky to face top franchise teams a lot of the time, so it just helps us a lot.
Yeah, you get that experience, you get the level, and you get those wins. So once again, Koala, congratulations on this win. And now for us, it's time to bring back the analysts to talk a little bit more about what we just saw on this interview and about everything that is about to come for tomorrow. Lemon, I like what I see for M80. We always get these kind of different personalities. There's people that are not willing to take risks and say, we're confident we're going to win. And there's people that are maybe a little bit overconfident. I think he was the perfect balance of we're feeling good, but it is all about ourselves and no anybody else.
Yeah, Koala Noob seemed mad chill, and I think they should be confident considering what their schedule is. You could very much see a perfect season. M80 have Winthrop and Turtle Troop next.
Yes.
And that's very winnable. They beat the top half, so you could see M80 locking that #1 seed for the mid-season cup.
And like I just mentioned earlier as well, they could definitely talk the talk, right? They were the team to beat last year. They're the team to beat this year. They almost made it into partnership this year as well. 1 series away against the Guard back then. So for for Koala Noob to say that, they're super confident this time around, I mean, it's just easy. You are still #1 for sure.
And that is a mentality that you need to have, right, as a team. And that is the mentality that we heard for the Guard the entirety of last year. It was just the main focus is going to be the last match. We only care about Ascension. We're thinking about Ascension. We're thinking one step ahead or a couple of steps ahead, if anything. So we are hearing this mentality now for M80 and for a good reason, right? The only team that is undefeated 3-0. And now we get to take a look at how the schedule has been shaping up for the day of yesterday, today, and what the matches are gonna look like tomorrow. Again, yesterday a 2-1, 2-0. Today was, thanks guys, 2 O's that we had.
Sorry.
For both of them. But tomorrow we have Together We Are Terrific against Oxygen and Turtle Troop against I'm waiting for it to come back.
Sad. Yeah, Turtle Troop
I'm
against
waiting to come
Sad.
back.
Yeah.
There you go.
I
Sad.
got you.
Yeah, so Vance, how are you feeling about these matches? I know you've been talking a lot about SAD, and I think they're kind of our underdog right now.
Definitely, and SAD makes me happy of how they're actually really good in terms of compositions, thinking outside of the box, just being good in general. The amount of util that they come out with, being new on a set, rather. I love watching this team and learning from this team so far as I've been witnessing Challengers this split. But I think both of these series overall are going to be very, very good series that matches well against each other, where Together We're Terrific against OXG is going to be a very, very nice one to look into to see if there's going to be some upsets for tomorrow.
I'm so excited for the Oxygen Together We Are Terrific match. I'm glad you highlighted that one. That is a must watch. But also I wanted to say congrats to Core, who got their first win. A lot of those kind of 0-2 teams got their first wins this week. And I think that's just gives you a leg up, gives you a chance to actually contend for, I know it's the 5 spots out of 6 that qualify, but to still just get as many points. Sorry.
Cries in the Glazers and cries in Thinking Men.
They could get a win if they try hard enough, for sure.
There's a chance for sure. It's not over for the Glazers and for Thinking Men. Definitely at the top, or at the bottom rather, 0-3 for both of them now. But everybody else looking pretty even, right? We have the M80 that we just got the chance to see. We got those 2 teams at the bottom that I just mentioned, and then everybody else kind of right in the middle, 1 win, 1 loss, and 2 wins or something like that. So a good opportunity for them to come back. Vance, what are your predictions for tomorrow?
Okay, I don't remember. So let's just pull out the tweet somehow, or just follow Knights on social media.
Get exposed.
And no, actually, I think I have SAD Esports and Oxygen, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay, that sounds about right. Lemon, did you have something like that?
I think I have the same thing.
I don't know.
Dude, do you even know who you cheer for? Do you just flip a coin?
Cheer for
Yeah.
Valorant.
You cheer for whatever team will love
Valorant.
you.
Woo!
What-
Good games, Valorant.
What really matters is that bands lost a friend today because GMD and
GMD,
you know,
please be my friend again.
friendship ended with GMD, or friendship ended with Vans rather. And the way that this is going, we might also end our friendship with Vincelia right here and now, Lemon. So you already know how this is shaping up, but
Cut the bar.
this is everything that we had for today. Both 2-0 matches, but very exciting to see the teams starting to get those wins or continuing to get those wins. We'll be back tomorrow again, same time, so same place. So make sure you catch those matches.
One enemy remaining. Spike planted. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining. One enemy remaining.